Hello, welcome and thank you for visiting the Open Leadership channel. My name is Michael Breeze, and on this video I'm going to talk about the importance of engaging your team as part of your leadership purpose. Now, I hope you find this video useful, and do stay until the end when you can find out how to access more free resources. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it would help me enormously if you could. It makes it much easier for me to carry on making free content for the people that need it or want it if you subscribe. So hopefully you've already watched the first two videos in this mini-series about leadership purpose. The first one was the overall leadership of the purpose of leadership, and the second was about connecting your team, which was the first element of that purpose. Now, I really recommend you watch those to get the full value out of this video, if you can. In the previous two videos, we adopted a concise statement of leadership purpose, which was to help our teams to succeed whilst developing them as individuals and as teams. So that was a concise statement of leadership purpose, which aligns to the open leadership approach, which I'm sharing on this channel. And I outlined then three elements of that purpose that will enable you to put those words into action. Those elements were to connect your team, to engage your team, and then to grow your team. And in this video, we'll specifically explore why the engage element is where the rubber hits the road. Now, engaging your people is at the heart of the open leadership approach. Many of the tools and the methods in the open leadership approach, in my book and in later videos of this channel where I'm giving it away, are aimed at helping leaders to engage their people in decisions, plans, problem solving, and ownership of results. Now, all of these areas, they might traditionally be seen as the leader's business, the leader's job. But in the open leadership approach, the intention is to share this ownership, this activity, and reap the benefits of doing so. Now, to understand those benefits, the potential here, let's start by taking a look at some data. Now, the Gallup organization, they're the analytics and advisory company, probably more commonly known as the political polling company when elections are approaching. They regularly study staff engagement and team performance and business performance. It's the largest study of its kind, so I've chose Gallup because they are the largest surveyors of this. There's hundreds of companies, 54 industries in this study, and across 96 countries. So it's very significant, it's very comprehensive and complete. Now, in their 10th meta-analysis of this data recently, they show some very powerful insights, and among these are that the top quartile engaged companies, so those organizations where the staff report being very engaged, when compared to organizations where the staff in the lower quartile, the bottom quartile, report being very poorly engaged or little engaged, the benefits are immense. 81% less absenteeism in their business, 81%, at least 18% lower staff turnover, two massive gains in your workplace in terms of contribution and costs to the business, 28% less shrinkage being a polite word for theft in the main, but loss of stock and product in the business, 28% less, 64% less safety incidents. Now, the well-being of your staff, their safety, and potentially for the customers or people you're working with, 64% better. I mean, alone that ought to be a reason to think about getting busy, engaging your people if this is a benefit. 41% less quality defects in products or services. 41%. It's an immense prize in business. 10% more customer loyalty, 18% better staff productivity, 23% better profitability. Not a surprise if all these things drop to the bottom line, as they will. Nearly a quarter more profitable as a business if you engage your people. 66% better well-being, though they surveyed the net thriving of employees in businesses, and 13% better organizational citizenship, for which they talk about the participation in the organization beyond the actual day job. So much more engaged, much more active people in the business. Now, this data, and certainly my personal experience, show a massive prize from properly engaging your people. I've repeatedly worked with client organizations where they have gained these sort of benefits as they learn to apply an approach to management and leadership which engage their people more fully. Now, the otherwise untapped power and creativity of ordinary, if there's any such thing as ordinary people, the power and creativity that's untapped can be a source of success and joy if you learn how to truly engage your people. Now, it's not some strange miracle that happens because you do something called engaging your people. You tick that box. No, it's because when people feel engaged in their work, when they care about the results, they care about the customers, when they have a voice, when they're encouraged and supported in identifying and solving the problems and challenges that arise in their work, they become an army of leaders, of self-managing, creative, and motivated people. They don't want to be off sick. They don't want to leave the organization. They don't want to steal from it. They don't want to let customers down or ignore problems or poor performance. They want to give great service, make great products, solve problems, get results. Because it feels, when they're engaged, it feels like it's their team, their performance, their challenges, and they want to make it the best they can. Organizations who continue to believe that command and control is the best way to lead an organization, they commit a terrible error. And I say they believe, they may just behave, because the belief is somehow embedded, that they behave as though command and control is the best way. Now, they fail to tap into and develop the massive potential that people can bring to work. So they lose that and the enormous benefits that their organization could receive from this. Now, in my opinion, for someone who is paid to lead people for the benefit of the business, this mistake must rank as one of the most serious derelictions of duty. It mustn't it? There is no plausible argument against this reality. Engagement works. And yet most organizations fail in this regard. If you look at surveys for businesses around the world, people reporting feeling fully engaged at work, countries rarely get near to a 50% score on this. Many reporting as low as 10%. How can this be when we see these benefits constantly surveyed and reported on? Now, there's a wonderful and amazing truth that is staring organizations in the face. If you treat people with respect and engage them in influencing, shaping, planning, and owning their work and the outcomes and results, they will give you back the world. They will amaze and thrill you with what they can do. Levels of creativity, energy, enthusiasm, and just plain old-fashioned hard work that you could never demand from them, but through a control and command approach to leadership. And the reason this is true is because as people, we love to be part of something bigger than ourselves, something worthwhile, meaningful work where we feel we're contributing and growing as people at the same time. It makes us happy. So if corporate returns and hard data don't do it for you, but as an organizational leader, they really must, but if they don't, contribute in your little corner of the world to human happiness by engaging your people. And by the way, if you master this, if you master engaging your people really well, I can also promise you much joy, endless energy, as well as great success in your career. So, have I sold engagement yet? Do you want to lead an engaged, self-managing, creative, proactive, and happy teams? Do you want to reap all of those immense benefits that we looked at earlier? Would you like to know how? Most of the content on this channel and in my book are aimed at showing you how to lead in a way that will engage your people fully. So if you subscribe today and hit that reminder bell, I'm giving this stuff away free, and it'll transform your whole career into something special, joyful, super positive, and impactful in terms of real results. But I don't want to leave you empty-handed from this video by referring you to further content in terms of how you could move forward with engaging your team. So let's take a look at least the high level of things that you could start to do. There are three major steps, I think, to starting to engage your people fully. One is to get those connections from the first element of leadership in the previous video, get those connections started. Now, this is the groundwork that's needed for engagement to build on. So as I said in the last video, all of the connections in that wheel of connection that we talked about are important, and in time they will all need to be strong to get the best possible outcomes. But you can start engaging your people once you've established a sort of functioning level of connection to the first three of those. Those are, firstly, the big why, the mission, the strategy of the organization. Where's the organization trying to get to? Connect your people to that fully, or or at least at functional level initially. Then connect them to you. Make sure that your relationship, your authenticity, the proximity between you and your people, there's an open channel of dialogue. They're starting to understand you fully, and you're starting to understand them as people as well. And then the third of those connections is to make sure that the team's purpose and its goals are clear, and the individual's roles and responsibilities are clarified. So connect them to the big strategy, to you, and lastly to their purpose and goals as a team and how they're working together, their roles and responsibilities within the group. Once you've got that connection, the second step is to involve your team in the planning and problem-solving work. In your day-to-day role. Remember, your purpose is to help them succeed, and so work with them to arrive at good solutions, plans, and the delivery of the work. A good rule of thumb, if you're transitioning from a traditional way of viewing leadership about control and management, a good way of transitioning that is to think about them as your team as fellow leaders who are trying to improve things and get things done together. Okay. Now, of course, you will have to make any final decisions, and you are accountable for the results. That's why you get paid as a leader. But I promise you that if you do this well, if you really engage your people the way I'm advocating, you won't need to worry about your results. Certainly not as much as you'll need to worry about them if you don't engage them. The third step in this initial engagement is to mobilize your team into action. Now, again, we'll cover lots of tools and methods for this in later videos, but at this stage, it's all about clarity of action and ownership of that action. Who's doing what by when, as well as follow-up, support, and help with course correction and if things need to be adjusted. So a simple system of agreeing action and reviewing progress and outcomes will get you started. Now, I'll share us simple and more sophisticated methods for this in later videos, but for now, just clearly expressed actions and deadlines will allow you to monitor and support people as they execute their work. So in summary then, that initial step towards starting engagement, make those early connections, work with your team and involve them in solving problems and planning activity, and then mobilize them into action with clear next steps and ongoing support as they take action. Now, if you've bought my book, the most relevant content areas for this video is Chapter 6, Problem Solving Team Growth, Chapter 7, Planning for Results, and Chapter 8, Executing for Results. But I will be giving all of this content away in the coming months as I build up the video stock on this channel. So, I hope this video was useful and interesting. Do watch the next one, which is about growing your people and completes this mini-series on leadership purpose. Let me know your thoughts and comments below if you would, please. And please remember to subscribe to the channel, as it makes it much easier for me, as I say, to keep producing free content for people that really need it and want it. Also, hit the reminder bell and you'll get notifications when new content drops in each week. Now, you can get access, as promised, you can get access to more free resources at openleadershipbase.com. That's openleadershipbase.com, including excerpts from my book, Stepping Up, How to Be Great in Your First or Next Leadership Role. You can also join the Open Leadership Base forum there and get involved in conversations with me, with other leaders, share experiences, ask questions, as well as letting me know what your thoughts about content you'd like to see either on this channel or there at the website. That's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.